we are jumping into my first quilt from my book. Oh my goodness. And you guys are probably like, why would you jump into the hardest first? Because we're going to eat this frog first. We're going to get through it. And you're going to see that once you can do this one, you can do all of them with ease. So we're going to work on Mosaic. We're not going to zhuzh it. We are going to create it as it was intended to be created. No zhuzhing here. I am using fabric that I purchased from the Threadbare at a show. The Threadbare has really got my attention. I think they curate a beautiful collection of fabrics. They have some of the designers that nobody else carries. They're in New Mexico. I wish I could go to their store. If you are near them, they also have an online presence. But if you're near them, please stop by and go support the Threadbare. I think you will be really pleased with the fabrics that they have. They have something for everybody. I am a huge fan. These come from the same line. This one comes from Amoda, I believe. And I don't know who made this, even though he told me. But they have these stickers on them. So if you really like this, go ahead and pause the video and grab these. This is going to be fabric number 1. This is going to be fabric number 2. And this is going to be fabric number 3. Let's get to it. I changed my mind. This is going to be fabric number 1. This is going to be fabric number 2. This is going to be fabric number 3. I was going between these two for which one I wanted on the border. I think we're going to do a purple border. This feels like something I would do all the time as a border, but instead we are going to choose this guy right here. And we are going to go nice and slow. I have templates. You do not need templates to do any of these. I mean, you need templates, but you don't have to purchase my acrylic templates. It's just, I wanted to have them available for everybody. So I'm going to go grab my templates and we'll talk about them. And we'll talk about how to do this without the templates. If you do not have the acrylic templates, that's fine. Not a big deal. The patterns come with the templates. There's another page with more of them on there. All you need to do is photocopy this or trace it or use freezer paper and transfer these onto that and then use the piece of paper. It is not difficult. It's not going to make that big of a difference. If you're only doing 1 or 2 of these or whatnot and you're not sure if you really want to commit, don't even worry about it. However, the templates minus shipping, you know, I don't know where you are super affordable. For the entire set, it's still less than 40 bucks for 6 pieces of acrylic, which is amazing. So it's just something to consider. And again, you can get my templates through Cut Once. They are amazing. They have excellent customer service. I've been getting just the most wonderful comments about working with them. People are really enjoying their customer service over there. So if you don't have the template, not a big deal. Just trace it. Trace that shape and you will be absolutely fine. All right, let's get to it. I said I didn't know who made this fabric and I didn't at the time, but now that I unfold it, I see that it is Alison Glass by Andover. Love that. Okay. I see we are cutting incredibly accurate 1-yard cuts. I always wonder if they do a little over or not, but don't worry. I do not have any extra to play with. So we must make good cutting decisions and cut with courage. I'm about to start cutting my strips and then I'll come back and cut out the template patterns. So here are the templates that we were talking about. They are acrylic. I have pattern A, B, and pattern C and D, and we will be needing both sets of these for this particular quilt. And I am going to use a little grippy non-slip coating on the back of these just to be sure that it's not moving all around. I have a tendency to push acrylics everywhere, so do your thing and we will move on. I've cut the first blocks that I needed for my plain block, and this is going to be block F. I have these pins that have numbers and letters on them. They are very expensive. Try to catch them on a sale at whatever quilt store you decide to buy them from. You don't need them, but I think for these, it's best to label, especially for this one, because we've got some different stuff going on here. So I'm just going to throw this pin in this one, and this is all my block F. And I'm going to do the same thing. When I cut out a piece, whatever block that is for, I'm going to go on ahead and label it. Now, I'm going to take this and put it right here. This is the folded edge. This is the open edge. And I know that I need 6 of these from the remainder of this strip. So I am going slow, and that's 2. So I have 2 of this shape here. All that I need to get from this fabric are, actually I could take this and straighten it up so that I'm cutting against another straight edge. The rest of that is going to be a scrap. I love the way these patterns are written. This is all of Fabric Cafe stuff because you know why you're cutting the strip. So I know that I need 6 of these from this particular strip, and I love that about their patterns. So you don't have to be guessing, do you have enough and all that kind of stuff. You're fine. You're fine. And in the back of the book, it also shows you how to lay out your pattern templates to get the most amount of templates from your fabric. So no worries. I'm just doing this one. We're still working on fabric 1 right now. This is going to be a scrap. And I'm just using these edges right here that are already open. This is the fold right here, just to line it up. And that's quick cutting. I'm doing 2 at a time. It's a fairly new. I would feel comfortable doing probably 4 at a time, but I'm not going to push it. We're going to go nice and slow. I know that these that I just cut right here are for block E. So I'm going to grab my E and I'm going to label these and put them to the side. Simple. I've cut my next strip, and now I know that I need 8 of my pattern C template to come from this strip. So I'm going to go on ahead and show you guys in the back of this book how many I can get and how. So for pattern C, you can get up to 12 per strip from selvage to selvage, which is so cool that it shows you that, right? And it shows you how to lay it so that you get that. No worries. Now, cool thing, my fabric is folded, not a problem, because it does not matter the directionality of any of this. They're all identical. So if I cut them face to face, it's not going to be a big deal. I will be able to flip it over and use it. Same thing with the other pieces. So because they are identical on both sides, you really don't have to worry about what's happening in that regard. So I'm going to do just like it says. I'm going to take off this selvage. If you have a turning mat, you might enjoy it. This might feel weird because it's the first time you're doing it. Just go through it. Go slow. Go through it. This is not difficult. It is not. I think we make a bigger deal out of curves than they have to be. So I am putting this on this fresh curve right here. It is right on the fresh edge right there. And I am going to go up just a little bit. And I'm going to jump in here. And go around that curve nice and slow. And there, I've got it. Perfect. And this is for, I think this is for F. We're going to put this to the side. Now I need to get the other side. I am going to sit it right in that section there. I'm going to take this off. And then I can rotate it around because I'm right-handed. And you will be left over with an orange peel scrap. And we're going to keep doing that all the way down. So now we have our border strips from our fabric number 1, our back end of some, our innards of others, and then our blanks. That might have taken me 20 minutes of cutting, if that. It's easy work, you guys. So I'm working on fabric number 2. I've just cut 7 of this pattern, pattern C, from this strip. Now I have the remainder of this strip. I unfolded it. I cut my first one here, but I know when I was looking at it, I know somebody's going to be like, how can I get 4 out of this? But again, remember, when we're doing curves, we have to maximize our fabric. So I cut this one out, and I need 4 of this shape from here. So I'm just going to rotate the fabric because I'm right-handed, and I'm going to lay it down just like this. And I'm going to take my next cut just like this. And then we can actually rotate this so that I can get this straight cut right here. And we are good. Or we would be good if I had cut all the way through this. Voila. All right. So that's 2. Let's go on ahead and make this easy and find a place where we can nestle this right up against it. Perfect. There it is. 3. And let's grab 4. It will fit. It's a little tight, but not a big deal. And some of you really won't care because you've got plenty of fabric. But if you are using just your 3 yards, we do need to maximize our amount. All right, and then we've got scraps there and our 4th shape. Now we've moved on to fabric number 3. I cut my first one out, easy peasy. You can only get 6 of this largest shape from the strips, so we have a little wiggle room. I'm just laying this ruler right up next to it just to get a fresh edge without rotating it. Now I'm going to place this here, and we are going to cut again. Again, easy work. I'm going to take those, place that there. I need another fresh edge. I'm just going to take this and straighten it up. If you are tight on fabric, that's a way that you can do that without rotating it. Just a few tips and tricks. I am not tight on fabric for this one, so it wouldn't have mattered, but no worries. Just showing you what you can do. And we've got scraps. So I'm working on my block B assembly, and I have taken my strip and I have cut what I needed from it. And from this, I'm supposed to be able to get 4 of these. So I want to show you guys how I do it. This is where the fold is on the right hand side, and then on the left hand side, we have our open side. So I went in and we're just gonna curve that out. Perfect. We've got 2 there, and I'm gonna flip it around, and I'm gonna grab my next 2. And I have left just a smidgen of fabric to the left because I knew that fold was there. So I'm going to butt this right up against that, remove it. And there I have my shapes. Okay. And the rest are scraps. We are cutting the last of our fabric number 3. And if I'm being honest, my favorite template to cut is the pattern A shape. I don't know why. It's just my favorite to cut. And that's going to be the more traditional drunkard's shape. And I just like it. It's just fun. It's this one right here. And I can't explain it, but it's my jam. Maybe because it's got the shortest path. I don't know. Now that I have cut that, I need 3 of this to finish. And I have it folded over. There are 4 layers here of this guy. And I am going to take off the fold. And then I'm going to lay this here. And now I have all 3 that I need. And that's it. So about an hour, I stopped to eat and talked to my husband and was choking from eating. So a few other things have happened. This was an easy quilt to cut out. It's not as bad as you might think. You just want to see how many of that you need in the color strip that you're cutting, and then just take your time and make sure. There's some of them that you might need to rotate, but it's okay. You can do this. Now that we have all of our block sets cut out, this is B, this is D, this is G, and this is E. I do every single one the same. So I'm going to show you one of the G ones. I do them again all the exact same. I'm going to grab this one, and I'm going to grab one of this guy. The colorways are reversed, but the shapes are the same. And like I said, I do them all the exact same way. This should finish like this, and this should finish like this. I sew them in half to find, not sew them, I fold them in half to find the middle. I can see the middle. Fold this one in half to find the middle. Perfect. Middle is found. So if we were to do this, now I'm going to match it. And then I'm going to put a pin in that center. I'm going to do the exact same thing for this one. Find half, finger press it. Do this and finger press it. Match them up like this and stick a pin in it. Okay. Now here comes the fun part. I grab my sew line glue pen with the yellow glue. That's the important part, yellow glue. And I just put some dabs of glue in the seam allowance. So I don't go more than 1/4 of an inch in. And I put it on there pretty liberally. Then I grab this and I match this end. You got to manipulate it a little bit. Don't be scared of your fabric. And then once it's matched, I give it a little press. It holds very quickly. And you want to make sure that this is parallel, right? And then from there, we just smooth it out. Just smooth it right on out. You can go from the center, the sides, whatever you need to do. I give it a little tension and I just walk it down. Walk it down. Some people use pins to pin all the way around. I don't. Some people do not like to use glue. I do. And now it is all pressed. Perfect. Do the same thing to the other side. This is an extra step. You don't have to do it. Some people can do it without the glue and with the pins. It just depends. It just depends what your style is. So once I get that all lined up, I just give it a little pinch. And it will hold it. And then we just smooth this out right along the fabric. Just walk it on down. And there it is. Nothing special, nothing. Nope, just walk it on down. And there you have it. Same exact thing with this. I've got this Teflon sheet underneath. Use a regular sheet of paper. It does not matter. I just don't want any glue on my beautiful Riley Blake cutting mat. Same exact process. Put this here, give it a little press. Then just smooth it out. You will find that the larger curves will be easier to sew because they're just like sewing a straight line. The other ones, not difficult, just not as easy as the larger ones. You can also do this with washable school glue. It also will give you the hold that you need. This one does tend to hold just a little bit faster and stronger, but not by much. Like I said, you can absolutely use your Elmer's washable school glue. Or pin it. Or don't pin it. I know people who don't pin at all. They pin the front, the center, and they just ease it on in, and it works out just fine. Now I will do this to every single one of them, and then just sit at the sewing machine and just sew them all together, just like that. Now when you are sewing this, you're going to make sure that it starts parallel, right? So parallel to your machine. And the only thing you're going to worry about being smooth is whatever is under the needle. It's going to bunch up on the outside and the, you know, because it's a curve. It is what it is. But whatever's underneath that needle, you want that to be smooth. And you want to be sure to have it so that it stops in the down position if you can. I sew with the guard on, but you just want to be sure that you're keeping the edge of that lined up with your foot. I'm going to smooth that out. Pull that. And that's it. That's how you sew that curve. And then we will just press it back and we will have a beautiful curve. Same thing on all of them. Nothing different, nothing changes. Now that we have all of them sewn and labeled, it is time to get to pressing. So to press these right here, this is going to be B and E, which are the thicker ones. I am going to just press them with this guide to the back. For these, I'm going to take 4 and press them one direction and 4 of them and press them the other direction. And you will see why. I want them to nest. And because I have glued these together, I'm not going to open the seams on that. I'm just going to press them in a direction that I need them to go. So like I said, for these with the thicker one, we are going to just press these going this way. And it's gorgeous. Just that simple. I don't want to do too much manipulating. We are on the bias and all that. And then I have just a cutie patootie little block. So all of those I'm going to press like that. For blocks G and D, I'm going to do them a little different. I mean, naturally, it just kind of wants to go backward like that. But I am going to lay it down this way. I'm going to lay 4 this way. And I'm going to lay 4 the other way, the natural way, because I know that I need these to butt up against each other. So I am just going to do my thing here. And just, now on my full-size ironing board, this looks a lot smoother. It looks cooler. But it comes out fine. See that? So I will do 4 where I press this inward this way. And then I will do 4 going back the way that probably feels most natural for everyone to press it. I'm using this little itty bitty tiny cutie patootie for funsies, but yeah. So that one's coming out this way, okay? And I think that will make for an easier piecing. We shall see. This is an incredibly fast, so I wasn't expecting it. Well, I was, but I wasn't. This is where we are. We have our block D, we have our block G, B, E, A, C, and F, right? I know I did that all weird, but that's what we have. I am going to lay these out on my ironing board with the little letters so that I can see what is what. And then all that's left to do is basically like web piece this. I could web piece this. I don't know if I'm going to show you guys web piecing today, but I could, because this is going to go, no, I'm not going to web piece. But it's going to go really, really fast. And all that's left to do is lay it out and make sure you're not getting stuff topsy-turvy, okay? So let me lay out our first row. I have all of my little squares and whatnot all labeled, and now I'm getting ready to start laying out my rows. So I have my first row all laid out. Remember, when you are using these, if you have done it the way that I have, make sure that you have one that is pressed this way and one is pressed that way. So that way, when you butt them up against each other, it will nest, right? So I've got one going one way. Then I can just push it in there and nest those together and hopefully get something beautiful. Okay, I am getting ready to get to sewing. We went ahead and we laid out row 2. Row 1 is already sewn and pressed, and it looks good. We've got a beautiful point going right there. It probably would lay even more flat if I had pressed it open, but I haven't. I've got them all pressed towards this little guy here. And again, the second row, nice, easy peasy, nothing to really think about here. Looks good. Now I just completed row 3. And one thing I will say that I've had to do, and I totally missed this, is on these pieces, you will need to flip a few of them if you want them to nest. And I'm able to get them to nest beautifully just by pushing them the opposite direction and pressing it the opposite direction. They have come together gorgeous. And so it's not an issue. I just want you guys to know that I did mess that up. And I find myself having to flip it. But this is coming out beautifully. Oh, this was a good color combo. Very excited about this. So I had just put this in 2 sections. I attached the first 4 rows and then the last 4 rows. And honestly, this was fast, easy work. I cannot believe how gorgeous this is. People are going to do so many cool things with this. I am thinking I want to see it in African fabrics, but I think different fabrics in each section. I don't know. This is gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Okay, I am going to sew this together and then I'm going to add the borders. I'm not going to zhuzh it. I'm just going to leave it the way that it was intended to be and move on. Okay.